Welcome to the A to Z Support Challenge. The rules are simple. I play 3 games of support with each champion. I also start an iron, so we will see whether I can climb with this strategy. And at the end of each episode, there will be an updated tier list of how viable these champions are as supports. My name is John Elis, and I am an Emerald support player who plays stuff like Fiddlesticks, Xerath, Shaco, or AP Kog'Maw. Our journey starts with Daddy Darkin, whose size of sword does not really correspond with the size of his vocabulary. The first surprise comes when we actually get our first reset without dying, but that is mainly thanks to Nico not ganking our lane and instead cross-dressing in the jungle as a raptor in hope of some inbreeding. Later on, we try to go for all in, but sadly, I am one auto short of getting a kill. Evidently, swinging such a big sword comes with its own difficulties, and my attack speed is hindered. I guess it just reflects real life. Maybe finally my girlfriend will understand why I am winded after just a few thrusts. Then I was like, this time there is no jungle, so it will go much better, but my brain did not cooperate, and I did not press my R at the beginning of the fight. Luckily, my Jinx can in the meantime master the art of standing incredibly still and auto-attacking. But then this Flintstone character arrives rolling on her stone, and things go south. After I am shown a few more times that it is actually really important to hit my Qs and that there is a reason why your top laner is 0 and 5 when facing Vayne top, I finally understand that I have to focus on stuff I can do, and that is hitting my W, and we are miraculously useful for once. Then I go for a tower dive, but thinking this can work out was more naive than your girlfriend telling herself every day that you will actually change and you will stop thinking of your relationship as of Demacia, where she is cute Lux, and you can go around telling her what to do and the other way around. While you are Garen, protector of the realm, your only job is to show her your big sword whenever something goes wrong. 15 minutes later, I actually pulled off the Daddy Darkin combo, only with very minimal misplay. Then Daddy meets Mommy, and that leaves him wondering whether he isn't just a little submissive Twinkie. But then I look down, and either my saber is swollen or I cannot see him because of my belly. Getting off a good fight to give us some hope so the enemy team can have fun for a few more minutes, accompanied by funny interaction between my W and said ultimate. Slow motion action, because it happened faster than you did. In other words, your dad's pull-out game was good, but to successfully pull it out, you first have to insert it before it explodes. Then I reset my death gold and the game ends.
Another one.
Since I haven't played on this account for a while, we are in the placements, and we are going to start off in no prettier place than Iron. I was really surprised to see that not only have I not received any complaints for playing this abomination, but I even got compliments on it. The game begins with me using new tech that actually results in us getting first blood. I mean, look at Daddy Darkin. They say that Talon is responsible for 100% of first bloods, but I think that is only first blood on girls. For boys, there is Aatrox and his big sword. Sadly, Arcane Lunatic decides to totally inconspicuously grief, and so it is just an even trade at the end. Then I came back and instantly ran into them, but remember boys, just because she let you in once does not mean there is no need for consent anymore. Shortly after that, the rat does the same thing, forgetting that lead doesn't work like real life and shooting from shorter range isn't more destructive, so I gently lift his tail and cause him loads of pain. After a very impressive show of skill and power from Aatrox support, I watched my jungler remain focused even under stress and focus on what was important in the moment. Spoon-feeding Arcane Lunatic, as did her adoptive father in the animated TV show, which is why she turned out to be lunatic. And probably the same reason why you became the guy who felt the need to flame his teammates for his own mistakes. AD carries are still a joke, a bigger joke than the Daddy Darkin support. This time, it went in much smoother. It is stretching out. In making of this video, there were no animals hurt. I'm actually starting to get the hang of this, but I evidently still miss some elemental skills in this game. But despite that, we lose even the second game.
Another one.
The third game is actually a charm because it begins with me catching off guard more mysterious character than Donald Trump. And sometime later we kill their bot lane 2 versus 2. Then the enemy team feels the need to provide me with at least one decent game on this champion, so I am randomly gifted 2 kills. After that, I start feeling myself and want to make that play of the game, but my team is slow as your pull-out game, which costs me my life. As crazy as it might sound, I am actually doing support stuff here, you know, peeling my AD carry. P.S. I really would not want to face Daddy Darkin when playing Scion. But happiness doesn't last long for some reason, which surely isn't related to my play worthy of e-girl. OMG, I am so dumb. Hehehe. TikTok clip. At the end of the day, Aatrox might be daddy to some, but even daddy has daddy and his name is Scion. Same as in real life, your daddy deals with a lot of your BS, but in the end, he will still beat you up. At least that is what my father did. And that is how it begins 0 and 3 with Aatrox.
Another one.
Spoiler alert, Ahri games went much better. But before we dive into them, please guys consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video so I know that you are interested in this A to Z supports video series. First things first, I get my virginity taken away by this guy who knows his limits better than I do when I try to hit on that 6 out of 10 girl on Friday night. Sometime later, however, I start to show off the true power of Fox Lady, and therefore, according to my character, I steal everything there is. First I steal kill, then cannon minion, and after 2 minutes long chase, I steal even their source of light. And then we repeat the process to teach these kids how it feels to live with a permanent gray screen. Yes, I talk about living with depression. When you are as ahead as I am, you can literally just shove it in their faces and they will just admire how big it is your lead, of course. So I do that, and then with the help of toilet paper 69, we show them what else we can do with it. And after that, we do what all those people in real life who feel ahead of everybody do, and so we try to deepen our connection with nature only to find some homeless guy. Sadly, his smell up close was unbearable, so I tried to leave, but the stench was so strong that it remained with me and put me at the same level of grayness as he is. From time to time, you have to show them that it is not just luck but the precision of your skill shots that got you where you are. I just hate those guys that protect animal life, goddamn hippies. Let me have some turtle meat when I want to. But they are just very stubborn about it, so they kill me both when I try to steal Baron and when I try to steal Drake. You might think that it is looking grim right now, but in situations like these, I always remember what my girlfriend keeps telling me whenever I feel down.
Eat that ass.
In other words, I play the next 5 fights as if I were Briar and therefore die. But at the end, my team pulls through and we win this game, granting us our first win in this series.
Nice.
The second game begins with 4-Finger Joe blocking me and therefore missing my attempt to turn Senna gay, and shortly after that our AD carries flashing for a kill in tandem. But then they are left to 1 versus 1 after getting their kills. I haven't seen what exactly happened, but my guess is that it wasn't 4. Then I sadly die again in hopes of 4-Finger Joe avenging me, but his accuracy is about as good as his ability to count his fingers on one hand. Then we prevent the nightmare of every jungler by mind controlling this nightmare into a fat finger moment. And after that, we die a few more times because that is exactly what happens when you try to play support the right way and go support runes. Also, Jhin, when he is reloading, must feel the same way as you when you blow your load, but then your crush tells you that her parents died so she is alone at home. And then I get run down for clearing enemy vision and even get blamed for that by my daddy, but don't worry guys, I grew up to be a wannabe YouTuber, so I am already used to being flamed by my parents. However, what they do not know is that it is part of a tactic, because when you pretend you are weak, they think you are easy to get, but they do not know that it is all calculated. This is a strategy I learned from local TV news, where at least once a week there is reportage about some old lady getting robbed. I mean, they are just faking being weak, right? This guy is experiencing a strong case of confusion. You see, when you are rock solid in real life, you suddenly get really athletic no matter how many Big Macs you had for dinner tonight. However, that is not what Malphite means when he claims to be rock solid. And shortly after that, the game ends. When it comes to my score, you know, at least I didn't validate their fears that I would take all the kills and pretend to be carry support, while 4-Finger Joe cries in all chat because that seems to be the only thing that AD carries are good at. After Cuck's wife gets lost thanks to her amazing navigational abilities, we score first blood on a guy who looks like first bloods is all he lives for, especially those on minors. Then I once again do that trick where I miss everything on purpose, the same way as I missed every opportunity to be a decent human being that life gave me, but so far both instances are working out. Watch and learn, kids. This is how you outplay your enemies into using their ultimate ability for no reason whatsoever. As I am not doing that well in this game, I decided to marry the guy with the biggest sword out there so he does everything for me, and I will just look good next to him. And after his amazing skill of dropping his big sword on your face, he also shows me his skill to run so fast with his sword upwards that it seems as if he just flashed. But don't worry, from time to time, I am also useful, and by that, I mean I can appropriate the work of other people as my own. Then I kill steal one more time, which leads to a philosophical window where I acknowledge the fact that kill stealing is something that never happens in real life, only in movies and League of Legends. Anywho, that leaves us with 3 wins on Ahri and 3 wins on Aatrox.
Damn!
Now let's quickly place these 2 amazing support picks on our tier list. First off, we have Daddy Darkin, and we are going to place him in the can work tier. It surely isn't the type of champion anybody can pick up and run him as support, but I can imagine some Aatrox player having some decent game at him. But it would also depend on enemy support. And then there is Ahri, and for her, to be honest, I will go with solid, as I feel that is something I could actually run from time to time if I learn to manage so much mobility, and do not think it is okay to dash into melee range. But I would surely rather go normal AP build than the glacial augment one. Anywho, that will be all for today, so I leave you Johnnyless for now.